All right, live, waiting for our first viewer, which hopefully will come soon. Let me get this URL really quick. Post it on Facebook and Twitter while we are waiting. All right. Hey, cool. Hi, Ronald. Hi, Green Yeti. Hey, Mezzed Up One. How you doing? Hey, you guys were just like ready. You were. Hi, Green Yeti. Oh, thank you. Hi, Isaac. Hey, how's it going? All right. And Dennis, how are you doing, sir? All right, let me see if I can get this URL really quick and post it on. Yes, Delvis, Hoodie Coco. There are worse nicknames, right? All right, well, I'm glad you made it on time. Hi, John. I wish I was having spaghetti. That sounds pretty good. All right, how can we do this here? Thank you, Pensive Ruin. I appreciate that. Um, yeah, Hooded Cobra Commander is. Yeah, I think that's my favorite too. I mean, I like the Battle Mask Cobra Commander, but the Hooded Cobra Commander was always just kind of special. There's sort of a mystique about it. Um, hold on. Okay. The parts for the Joes I sent in a Cobra driver. Okay, cool. I'm just posting this really quick on Facebook and Twitter. Will only take a moment. There. There. Okay. Um, Green Yeti, you're 13. Oh, cool. I'm glad that you got into it. Um, Hi, Jeff. Okay, all right, we are in business, and okay, I'll keep this here because it'll be easier to moderate if I need to, but there we go. All right, now I can give you guys my full attention. When I'm going to give it a few minutes, and when everybody gets in here, I will start a topic because I wanted to talk about the G.I. Joe movie news. There is some G.I. Joe movie news. I'm really glad you like it. Oh, greetings, Netherlands. Greetings from the United States. It seems like everybody can hear me okay. Thank you for watching Cobra Convergence 3, Matt. I was pretty thrilled with how it turned out. I'm really happy with it. Everybody seems to, all the participants seem to be happy with it. So I think it went all right. Thanks, Victor Franco. I'm glad that you're liking it. Yeah, the movie news. I don't know. I got some thoughts about it. Hello, Anne Marie. Well, you don't have to be exactly on time. We're still going. You know, you can get in and you know, you don't have to be here exactly when it starts. Yeah, Green Yeti. That's what I wanted to talk about, and I'm hoping the next movie is good too. That's really what more important than anything. But I had some thoughts I wanted to share about about the specific movie news, and about just in general my thoughts about the GI Joe movies and what they can do for us and what maybe they can't do for us. Yeah, I wanted to discuss that once we get a few folks in here. Hello, Maryland. Not that's your name, Justin. Justin, hello, Justin in Maryland. Well, I appreciate you showing up, Green Yeti. I'm glad you're here. Uh, it's cool, Anne Marie. You haven't missed anything yet. Um, well, no, not about the '87 movie, but we can talk about the '87 movie. Hey, all right, that's Mrs. HCC right there in that comment. I may need to ban her. She's a filthy mouth. I You wouldn't believe the kind of sailor talk we get out of that lady. Hi, Rob Dog. Gen 1 Red Alert, how you doing? And I'm glad you liked it, Pensive Ruin. Obviously, that's a little bit divisive. And I did last year promise to review that movie this year, and that is coming up. It's on the schedule, so watch for that. If Ice Cream Soldier is in it, you'll watch it. Well, you know what? I think we need to start lobbying the movie studio now to get Ice Cream Soldier in there. Hey, ODC, that's me. Hey, I was able to catch your live stream, and now you're catching mine. So awesome. Next time I see one of your live streams, I'll try to stay longer. I was just taking a break because I was shooting and doing video stuff. Thanks, Anthony. I'm going to do my best. Next movie needs new 80s theme. You're not the only one that thinks that. That's been suggested. I don't think we're going to get that, though. So, looking at what's in the realm of the possible, maybe we can still get something that's good. Support of the toy line, that's going to be a tough one. And I think, man, there's I don't want to be pessimistic, but Toy Galaxy a while back put up a video. Okay, hi Evan. Toy Galaxy put up a video, kind of saying, where is GI Joe and what are they doing with this brand? And I thought that was really good and interesting. And I was thinking of doing like a follow-up to it because I had some thoughts about it. But then as I was thinking about it more, I was starting to feel more pessimistic about the future and how Hasbro is likely to handle the brand. And I thought about what a downer video that would be to respond to that, and so I ended up not doing it. I mean, I don't want to be a downer, and I don't want to be the one who poo-poos everybody's ideas. But hopefully we got some positive. I do have some positive thoughts, so we'll talk about that here in a minute. Hi, Josiah. One thing that I think everybody's got to keep in mind about the movie, maybe not just this G.I. Joe movie, but any movie that's based on a property or some other kind of entertainment brand that's being translated into a movie, is that there's a difference between what I would like to see and maybe what the really dedicated fans would like to see versus what would appeal to a broader, wider audience. And those aren't always the same thing. There is some crossover, sure, but there's a risk that if you don't appeal to a broad enough audience and the movie doesn't make money, then you're just never going to get one again. And the way the earlier G.I. Joe movies performed, they did make money, but they made, I think, a little bit less than what they were hoping for. So we're in a precarious position right now. Well, I'm glad to have you on board, Yeti. Sorry, now my dog has decided to bark. Netflix. The idea of a Netflix show has been floated around, and I actually think that's a not a bad idea at all. Um, but I think a lot of us older GI Joe fans were thinking for a Netflix show would be an animated show, and I think that might be a mistake. I think a live action show would get a lot more attention, and also give you that. Hey, JJ, would also give you that the ability to build an ongoing storyline, which is something that is GI Joe kind of needs because there's so many. You have so many potential characters to draw from, storylines to follow. It's hard to do that in a movie or even a series of movies, but an ongoing series, I think, uh, would give you that opportunity. But if it were an animated series, my worry is that there wouldn't be enough of a draw. A live action series, I think, something along. All right, you always go back to what Marvel's doing. I don't want to copy what Marvel's doing, but there is a certain appeal to the live action Netflix Marvel shows that gets people's attention, and I think something more along those lines might work for GI Joe. Um, yeah, Resolute was great. I really like Resolute. I own a copy now. I went out and I actually ended up getting two copies because I forgot I had the other copy and I wanted it. I wanted to watch it, and then I got another copy and realized I could have watched it. um, but even like a Resolute style series, I just don't know that it would have a broad enough appeal. And what I would like to see um, is to see GI Joe, sort of brought back into the popular consciousness as something more than just, um, a novelty, sort of a relic of the past, something that's relevant, something that will appeal to, and so that somebody, new people, new young people, just new anyone can discover it um, and learn how great it is. Um, not have Destro and the Baroness in the last one. Yeah, uh, it's hard to have GI Joe without Destro and the Baroness. On the other hand, they kind of painted themselves into a corner because they had kind of a lot of villains and a lot of characters to juggle. And so, if they had given us Destro and the Baroness in that movie, I don't think they would have done them justice. I don't think it would have been. I don't. You probably wouldn't have liked it. So, yeah. Um, I'm just making sure I'm outdoors again because this really is the only place where I can talk to you guys without a lot of interference and noise from people doing stuff inside. But we've got like wasps out here. It's anyway. Um, yeah, Transformers. But Transformers got a lot more name recognition and a lot more social cachet right now. Um, Hi, Brandon. Um, but all right, let's talk. Let's talk about the specific movie news that we've got. What we got is what they're trying to do is essentially a second sequel, a third movie, bringing back The Rock. In the story that I read, they wanted to make they call them the Corsican twins, but basically the Crimson Twins as the villains in that movie, which is interesting idea. Um, I think a lot of us were expecting a reboot, um, maybe hoping for a reboot, so that we can kind of refresh. Um, hey, Kerouac, how you doing? Um, yeah, the the first two movies weren't especially well received. I think the second one was received a bit better than the first one. The first one is it's pretty rough. I rewatched it not that long ago because every once in a while I start thinking, well, maybe it's not as bad as I remember it. But then I watch it again, and it is actually as bad as I remember it. And I mean, obviously some people will like it. I mean, I have friends who had nothing to do with GI Joe, but thought the movie was cool, and they were like wearing, uh, you know, Snake Eyes and Baroness costumes for Halloween, and that's cool. If you're getting non GI Joe fans to pay that much attention, that's great. But the movie itself, though, as pretty rough. And the second movie, after rewatching it again, I think it was better. It still had some problems. It still has some problems that it's hard for me to get past. But it was better. There were some elements that felt more like GI Joe to me. And in the first one, there just wasn't a whole lot that seemed like GI Joe. It was, I mean, there were the characters, and some of them sort of looked like what we remembered. Most of them didn't look anything like what we remembered. They didn't act like the characters that we know, and it was pretty rough. Hi, Nyquist. So whatever we think the movie should be, there will be what we actually get. So what we actually get looks like it's going to be a sequel, a G.I. Joe 3, with different villains, but with The Rock returning as Roadblock. Okay. But then there's this talk of a Snake Eyes solo movie. And Bruce Willis, yeah, honestly, Bruce Willis, I won't say he was exactly committed to that role, but you put Bruce Willis in a movie and it gets butts in seats. That's just a fact. Hi, Bradley, how you doing? Um, so, Snake Eyes. That brings us to Snake Eyes. This idea of a Snake Eyes solo movie, and I'm actually more optimistic about that. Because if you're going to get G.I. Joe back into the popular consciousness, then I think Snake Eyes is a way to do it. Because you need a cool factor, and Snake Eyes has that. I mean, just right off the bat, and from the very first time he was introduced back in 1982, I mean, that all-black figure was special. And then you put an interesting storyline behind it, and then you've got something. There has been some worry about the fact that the character doesn't speak. The character wears a mask. You can't see his expression. But, I mean, these have not been problems in other movies. And I think that what that allows people to do, whatever emotions the filmmaker wants to imbue that character with using film language. Hi, Eddie. Vietnam crew in the movie, possibly. Something like that. And if you were going to set the movie in the 80s, you would take it all the way back to Vietnam. I just don't think they're going to do that, though. So I know that's what a lot of people want, but I'm just not focusing on that because I don't think that's what we're going to get. And as long as it appeals to new, as long as it brings in new fans and gets GI Joe back into the popular consciousness and makes GI Joe cool again, that's my priority. A series fleshing out the characters, absolutely, and maybe if this movie is successful and makes some money, maybe that's something they can look at down the line. I think the movie would have to be successful though to make that feasible. Um, yeah, live action silent interlude, something like that. Um, what I was thinking of was that I almost wish that they could that they would release the Snake Eyes movie first, establish that character, give his backstory, get that cool factor going, and get some buzz that you could carry forward into a GI Joe movie, and then continue Snake Eyes' story in that as kind of like the B plot in a larger GI Joe movie. Um, um, yeah. Okay. Thanks, John. Um, and I could be wrong, and this is why I wanted to discuss it with you guys. I just wanted to share my thoughts about it, and so um, like modern Dunkirk, that was that was something in with that feel and modern, like you say, um, it could be something special, but I'm doing my best to stay optimistic, but also realistic about what we're likely to get. And I can almost I can guarantee you we are not going to get a GI Joe movie that's going to satisfy all of us, like all of us that have been fans forever. I don't think that's possible. One reason why not is because people like GI Joe. Um, for lots of different reasons. Hey, Mr. Mike Lopez, the C-Ray, thank you very much, sir. I actually did open it, and I've got a video of the assembly that will be up on Sunday. So thank you. I really needed that. That was really good. Anyway, was the toys. I do want to get back to the toys. I do, but I'm trying to set my expectations here, right? I'm trying to, cross my fingers and hope that we get something truly great. But I'm also trying to, set my expectations and kind of think about what they're likely to really give us. What are they going to invest money in, and what are they going to think is going to bring in people, get people in the movie theater, and what that is may not exactly be what we would all necessarily prefer. But I'm at peace with that. I'm okay with that. I've said before that my GI Joe is from the '80s. I have that. Nothing can take that away from me. They can't ruin that with a movie. I have mine, so they're not damaging me, no matter what they do. But if they don't necessarily have to please me, then what do they need to do? What they need to do is make GI Joe cool again. Make it special. Get that get that in front of people so they can see how amazing it is, and kind of kickstart that next generation of fans. That's what I want. That's what I want. But anyway, I thought that if they did the Snake Eyes movie first and then led into a G.I. Joe movie, it might work better, because if you put Snake Eyes in the broader G.I. Joe movie, with an ensemble cast and lots of different characters. Hello, Brazil. Welcome from the United States. If you do that, then there's always a risk of Snake Eyes just being relegated to a background character, specifically because he doesn't speak and he doesn't have you can't see his face and all that. So a solo movie for him, I think, would do a lot to help build that character. Oh, hey, Aquadump Entertainment. Yeah, I needed to respond to your message, so I'm sorry about that. I'll get to you. I apologize. It's been a little bit hectic. Um, yeah, Delvis, something similar to that. Something that will lead into the broader GI Joe story is what I would like and what I think would work. Um, uh, a solo Storm Shadow movie. Well, that's an interesting idea, and if he did that, it would almost work just as well, I would think, because you would get your Snake Eyes in it. You can't really do a solo Storm Shadow movie without touching on Snake Eyes as well. So that's an interesting idea. Um, toys. Let's talk about toys. Uh, Best case scenario. All right. What's the best case scenario for toys? Um, yeah, Ripcord and Heavy Duty in the first movie. You know, all right. I don't want to. I already talked about Rise of Cobra. If I get started on that, I've got some triggers. I got to be careful about that. But um, the toys. Best case scenario would be that we would get some movie toys. They would get some popularity and maybe get in the hands of some kids. Um, but I'm a little bit pessimistic about that. Um, will I get the movie toys? I'll have to think about that. I'll consider that. I do want to support the brand, but then I'm not a modern collector, so I don't know. But what I feel like is we will get plastic, we will get some toys, um, but I have a feeling it is mostly going to be for collectors. And I think the reason for that is that I don't think kids go for the plastic like they used to. They just don't. Whether you think that's good or bad, they just don't. And when I look out at what's on the toy shelves, not that it's easy to do now that Toys R Us is shutting down in the United States, but when I look at what toys are selling, it's stuff for little kids, for like toddlers and maybe a couple years older. And they're like the only ones playing with plastic right now. Um, yeah, the 6-inch. They did try the 6-inch Joes. It didn't work. um, so yeah, so I worry that for those expecting to um, for those expecting to get like really awesome toys and great vehicles and everything like that, I just don't know if we're going to get that. I do think we'll get toys, but I think they will be along the lines of what we got for the 50th anniversary line. I think it'll be more stuff like that. And it'll be for collectors, and obviously it won't be in Toys R Us in the United States, but it'll probably be something along those lines. Um, and that's fine for collectors of modern toys. But if your hope is that it will bring in, kids, I, I'm more pessimistic about that. So again, I'm setting my expectations, and my expectations are fairly low. They don't actually have to try too hard to exceed those expectations. And some of you may feel that I'm being pessimistic, and you're probably right, but there are a lot of unanswered questions at this point, um, and it's almost dangerous nowadays to try to make a movie based on a property that has a built-in fan base, because some of those built-in fan bases can be pretty nasty and ill-behaved, and very, very hard to satisfy. And I'm not gonna. That's not gonna be me. I'm just not gonna be one of those people that's impossible to satisfy. I'm just not gonna do that. And whether I like the movie or I don't like the movie, it's to me the criteria is gonna be: is it going to get GI Joe back into the popular consciousness? Is it going to get the butts in the seats? Is it going to turn on new fans? And that I care a lot more about that than getting a movie that I individually would like. Wow, that does sound pessimistic, doesn't it? All right, well, there's some time. I think that they were talking about a release date in 2020. So there is. Sorry, the dog wants inside. Timeout. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back. Hey, come on. Okay, all right, and I'm back. Lowered expectations. Yeah. So those are my thoughts about the movie. I'm going to give them some space to take some risks. I am not going to be excessively critical. I will be completely honest about whether I like or dislike the movie and the reasons why, because that's just what I do. But I'm not going to be one of these rabid fans that's going to start ripping my shirt off and want to grab the pitchforks and torches if they don't give me exactly the movie I want to see. I've got to give them some room. I got to give them some room to take some risks, because it's going to take. All right, I'm sorry, guys. I'm losing connection every once in a while, so if I phase out, that's why. Sorry. Netflix on G.I. Joe. I really think that would be ideal. That's not what they're talking about right now, but I would love for G.I. Joe to make it to Netflix as a series. But I think the only chance it has of doing that is if the movies are successful. Both the G.I. Joe movie and this live-action Snake Eyes movie that they're talking about. Those movies really need to do well to have any possibility of anything like a Netflix series. And a Netflix series, as everybody's pointed out, you're exactly right, that would give you the opportunity and the space to tell a longer story and to develop those characters and to develop a storyline. I think for me, the worst case scenario. Oh, YouTube Premium, good job on Cobra Kai. That something along those lines could be good. I mean, not like that style. Obviously, G.I. Joe would be a different style, but with that kind of care and good writing, you could have something. Justice Curry, what are my thoughts on him? I mean, I've seen some of the stuff that he's done. I don't know that I have any other thoughts on him. He's got a nice collection, but I don't really follow him, so if there's anything new about him, I don't really know. Yeah. Oh yeah, there's that extensive Enterprises van. I'm actually kind of far away from my Wi-Fi hotspot, so I'm glad that I can get some connection at all. So crossing fingers that we get something good. For me, the worst case scenario would be something like the Michael Bay Transformers movies, and I know a lot of people liked those movies. But come on. Pensive Ruin, the idea for Cobra Convergence, I'll talk about that here in a second. The Transformers movies were really shallow and really not much more than, an extended music video with some explosions. And, I mean, yes, people went to see them. Yes, they were popular, but they are known now to be pretty bad. I mean, I think you would have a hard time finding somebody who would agree, hey, those were good movies. Um, so that's what I hope doesn't happen. I don't want a Michael Bay-esque GI Joe, especially considering that, I mean, GI Joe, at least our 80s and 90s GI Joe, has always had, I think, some really weighty subject matter. It's had a lot of intelligence behind it, thanks to Larry Hama, and it's always appealed, I think, to kids that were inclined to appreciate things like historical references and real military references and all those things that they threw in there. It appealed to kids who like that kind of thing, and so you can do more, I think, with GI Joe than just have explosions and guns and stuff. You can do so much more, and if they reduced it to something like a Michael Bay explosion fest, I think you might sell some tickets, but I think that that's all you would have. I think a reasonably popular movie that would not get the penetration into the social consciousness that I'm hoping it would have. Having Larry write the next movie would be a great idea. I don't think they will do it, but I wish that they would, because I think he could. I think he could do something with it. I think he could do something special with it. The idea, somebody asked about where Cobra Convergence came from. Mesdub, I think they had Larry as a consultant on the first movie, on the Rise of Cobra. He didn't listen. They didn't listen very well. He ended up having to choose his battles and fight to keep them from making Snake Eyes speak. He fought that battle and made sure that they understood that no, Snake Eyes cannot speak. You cannot have him, give it like a Silent Bob monologue at the end of the movie. You just can't do that. But yeah, he was a consultant on the first one, and that's the worst one. I don't think he was a consultant on the second one, but I think having Larry involved in general will always help your project. So talk to Larry. He knows what he's talking about. Anyway, so yeah, I think for the most part, those are my thoughts about the movie. Hello, Paul in the UK. Hello from hello to the United Kingdom from the United States. Yeah, Ray Park. Ray Park, I think, would be great. I mean, he is Snake Eyes, right? Even though he's behind the mask, he's able to use his body language to get to act. He can act with his body, which is not easy to do. Not everybody has that skill. Hello, Iconic Blood 666. How you doing? I did want to talk about how Cobra Convergence came about because somebody asked. Cobra Convergence was actually the second year of Cobra Month. I think the first year I had the channel, I had done a whole bunch of G.I. Joe team reviews, and I hadn't looked at anything Cobra for a while. So come July, I decided to do an entire month of Cobra. The entire month of July. So I did that about 4 years ago. And then the following year, I decided it was going to be an annual thing. So we're going to do the second Cobra month. But I wanted to do something to make it more special. So I had sent some messages to Form BX257 and Timmer. Actually, here's something that you can go back and look at if you feel like it. Timmer used to do a Q&A every once in a while when he didn't have time to do a full review. And in one of those Q&As, I asked him if he would ever be interested in doing a collaboration with another G.I. Joe reviewer. And then he said that he would, and I was like, okay, good. So I will message Timmer. And then I sent FormBX257 a private message asking if he would be interested as well. And I was happy that they both agreed that they would. And then we started planning. And so that became the finale of the second Cobra month, was this kickoff of Cobra Convergence, which was the three of us, just me, Timmer, and FormBX257. So that was Cobra Convergence. And then we decided to make it an annual event and make it bigger each year, you know? So, so that's kind of how it came about. It really was started as an extension of Cobra Month, but I was very fortunate that Timmer and Kevin agreed. So, thank you, Pensive Ruin. I was really thrilled with how Cobra Convergence 3 worked out. I was happy with it. I hope everybody else was too. I know this is not going to be everybody's thing, because not everybody enjoys the events and the collaborations, and I get that. But on the other hand, that is kind of what we do on this channel. So if you don't like collaborations, and if you don't like big events and things like that, then you may be in the wrong place, because that's what I love to do. I love working with people. I love working with Kevin. I love working with Timmer. And plus, I love their work. I love their channels. And everyone that was brought in this this year, they all have exceptional work on their own. But every year there are always some people that I wish I had brought in. I wish I had been able to get, but they weren't included. So every year I keep thinking, oh man, I wanted that person in. So next year there are going to be more people, but I'm also going to try to organize it better, make it easier to follow, and make sure it's promoted better so everybody kind of knows what's going on. So next year is going to be better, I think, in every respect. I'm already working on ideas. I think you'll find it very easy to follow, but also have a ton of content to watch. Thank you, ODC. That's me. I'm glad that you liked it. Yeah, I want to try. Give me some time to work on it, but I'm going to try to find a way to get more people into the Convergence, but to do it in a way that it'll be organized enough so that you can follow it better. Every year is a learning experience, and I think one thing that I learned from this year is that organization is important, and it's important that you guys have an easy way to follow it and know what's going on. So, got some ideas. We've got a year to work on it. So, stay tuned. And Yeti, if you want to join next year, give me some time. I'm not getting it quite ready yet, but we're going to work on it. So. Just give me some time. Give me some time. We just finished the Cobra Convergence 3, so we'll work on Cobra Convergence 4. Hail Cobra! But Yeti, I'm glad that you're here. Thank you, and I'm glad you're around. Hey, it's JoeFan82. Speaking of Cobra Convergence, a veteran of Cobra Convergence 2, Mr. JoeFan82. Hey, is MG Villain in here? Oh, well, there's that guy. Hey, nice to see you. Kyle, I'm glad you like the comedy bits. I enjoy doing them. I get complaints all the time, but I don't care because I'm going to keep doing them. Because, again, this is what I like to do. And, hey, I'm my own boss on this channel. Nobody can tell me I can't do it, so I'm going to do it. Yeah, Joe Fan. Oh, hey, Joe Motion Videos 82, Byron. Hey, Byron, I'm glad you liked C3, CC3, and I did get your email that you sent, and I will reply to that email. But I'm glad things are doing a little bit better, and I'm glad you're out of the hospital at least. That man, that was rough. But glad you're around. Hi, Andrew. Thank you. Um, yeah, I had some fun with the Killer Whale review. Um, the Exo Squad mech suits in one of the animated series. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can find precedent for a lot of things in G.I. Joe that may not necessarily translate to a movie. So if you're going to go back to source material, you have to be a little bit selective and think about the tone of your movie and, you know, what kind of story you want to tell, because G.I. Joe is so vast that it's not practical to fit everything into a movie. It just isn't. So yeah, the mech suits, they were just in there, right? They were in there and they were gone, just to have them. They didn't really do anything. They didn't add anything to the story. Hey, Max Rebo's Ghost Music, how you doing? Hi, Mike. Hi, Aaron. You know, these live streams have been fun for me. I don't know how they look when you play them back, because it'll be me responding to a bunch to you guys, so the conversation may be a little bit hard to follow. But this is fun for me. I'm still getting used to having this in the routine, doing this weekly. As Pensive Ruin, I thank them all the time myself. So Susan and my two girls have been very supportive. It would not be very easy to do this without their support. Excuse me. Hey, Javier Gonzalez, Major Blood. Good to see you. Thank you, Josiah. You know, and your support has been great. It's been overwhelming. I have to be careful to, you know, make sure that I express to you how important your support is. Sometimes it's easy to get caught up in the routine, and there's a lot of work that goes into doing these reviews every week. But when I look at you guys' comments and the messages you send to me, it's hard to be too down, you know, because there's just so much positivity. Some of the things that you don't see in some of the private messages that are sent to me, the personal stories that people tell me, are just, I mean, it's very humbling. And so I want everyone to understand that I appreciate all of your support, and I just appreciate you being here. What do I do for a living? I am a lawyer. I'm in public service, so I'm not the rich kind, but that's what I do. That's Evan. Hi, Evan. But you said I could call you Yeti too, so that's what I'm going with, because I think Yeti is an amusing name. New role at work, gotten any easier? Not really. I'm still going through the transition right now, so it hasn't even gotten into full swing yet, but it will soon. And it, you know, it's kind of sinking in, and it's kind of not what I would have chosen, but we will soldier on. Yeah, one thing that I took from another YouTuber that I watch, when he gets negative comments, and you know, any channel of any size gets negative comments, it just happens. But one thing that we have to do as creators is to remember to do it for the ones that love it. Do it for the ones who truly appreciate it. Don't do it for the haters. You can't let that get in the way of this interaction that we have together with everybody who enjoys it. And I want everybody to know that I'm not. If you're enjoying the show, if this is something that you'd like to have continue, I will be doing this work for you. And I'm not going to change the show to satisfy somebody who don't like it. So if you see negative comments, hey, I don't like this, I don't like that, those aren't the folks that I'm listening to. So I would feel like I would be disrespecting you guys if I were to listen to somebody who's just coming on to complain about everything he doesn't like. So that's not how I do things. Yeah. Oh, there's some negative comments and negative private messages. It's all right. It's all right. I think what the danger of doing this kind of thing, draw cabbie. I hope I said that right. Yeah, you are exactly right. I can't let one or two haters outweigh everybody else. I mean, those thumbs down on YouTube, I can promise you, I don't pay any attention to those. So if somebody don't like something, gives it a thumbs down, they're outnumbered. So, you know, I think one of the dangers of doing this kind of thing, kind of on this side of the camera, is that there is as part of the process, you kind of make yourself vulnerable by creating something and then putting it out there for the public to see. It's risky. You know, it makes you vulnerable to criticism and to even attack sometimes. So a person who does that, I think, naturally kind of thinks and worries about the reaction. And so when you get the one or two nasty comments, those tend to stand out more because those are the ones that, you know, they always tend to try to pick at things that you know you're already a little bit insecure about. That's what trolls do. They're really good at that. But we're not going to change the show to satisfy people who don't like it. And we're going to keep doing the show. So let's just have some appreciation. I have appreciation for everybody who's along for the ride and does enjoy it. The Joe review is winding down. Will I do anything else? I don't know. But we've got several years before they wind down. I've got a lot to review. I've got so much. So it's going to take a long time to finish those. But I had some ideas for what I might do after that, but I'm uncertain. Sometimes the idea of having this as a complete project and kind of this sort of time capsule, once it's all done and completed, it's, you know, the entire work, the entire project is self-contained and is out there for you to enjoy. There's something that appeals to that to me about that. But on the other hand, I do like doing this, and I think it would be kind of hard to stop. It would be hard to just not do it anymore. So the answer is I don't know. But fortunately, I have a few years to think about it and decide what I'm going to do. Well, we're closing in on an hour already. Man, time flies. I am going to try to keep these at about an hour. So I'll be wrapping it up in the next 6-7 minutes. But again, you guys showed up, and we had a great response. I'm really enjoying these live streams a lot more than I thought I would. I didn't do anything live like this, so this is kind of new for me, but it's kind of fun. It's really cool. Sponsored by... I actually was drinking a Pepsi, but not out of the bottle. So it's sponsored by Hideaway Pizza. How about that? Yeah, maybe YouTube won't even exist by then. You never know. It's the internet. Things change fast. Making a DVD of the reviews. Actually, I have thought about that. And I actually sort of even got started on a project like that. And I got too busy and I couldn't finish it. But yeah, I had an idea of like bundling the reviews together, like a whole year of reviews, but giving them some new introductions and maybe editing them a little bit better, especially those old ones that are pretty rough, so that they're a little easier to watch and more presentable, and then maybe release that as a DVD, so you would get something new, not just the same stuff that you watch on YouTube. And I think that would be fun. Plus, I mean, the idea of having like my own DVD of my own stuff is really neat. But I just got too busy and I couldn't get around to it. Man, I got my own T-shirts. I mean, that is so cool. I'm still kind of like giddy about the fact that I can make T-shirts of my own thing and I can put these videos up and people actually watch them. This is very exciting for me. Opinion on repros and customs. Why do you think some people are so upset? Because, well, I mean, especially for what I do, it's important to have the original, item. And some reproductions, not all, but some, are so close to the original item that it makes it hard to know if you've got something authentic. And, for some people, authenticity matters. And authenticity kind of matters to me, too. But customs, though, are a different matter. Having a custom is something that is often pretty fun and can give you a customized toy. Can give you something that was never released before. You could never get in the vintage run like a Tiger Force Starduster, because that didn't exist. Well, you get a custom of it, and you can have like anything you want, and that's kind of cool. Thanks, Brandon. Mobat Tank Custom. Thoughts on the new Star Wars movies? I like them. Yeah. I so far I've enjoyed all of them. Yeah, Joe Fan, selling them as originals, and that's the problem. Even if the person who makes them and the person who initially sells them doesn't intend to sell them and pass them off as original, down the line somebody might do it, either being dishonest or may just not know that it's a repro. So yeah, 3D custom printing, that's something that 3D printing has really taken off in the last few years. A forum on the website. It does have a forum. I have to confess to not checking it very often. On HCC788.com there is a forum. But I've just been too busy to check it. Sorry. Star Wars classic toy reviews in the future, or G.I. Joe comic book reviews. I think it's more likely that I do the comic book reviews than Star Wars. I really like the old classic Kenner Star Wars toys, and I actually really would enjoy reviewing those. But keeping with the channel's theme, I really want to get back to doing the comic book reviews. In fact, I was hoping to find a way to do that this year. It seems less likely now with the changes that are happening with my job, and I'm likely to be a bit more busy, and I'm less likely to have the spare time to do it. So the comic book reviews, though, is something I'd really like to get back to. Anyway, it is about 1 hour. And I'm sorry, I know I didn't get to everybody's question. I apologize. But I'm going to try to wrap it up. I'm going to try to keep these to about an hour. Max Rebo's Ghost Music, would I review the G.I. Joe Sunbow cartoon series? I would have fun doing that. But like with the comic book reviews, I just have to have time to do it. But actually have access to most, if not all, of the Sunbow series, and I've gone back and watched a lot of them, and some of them are pretty funny. So I would enjoy that. Well, we got 101 people in here. Here I am about to wrap it up, and I got 100 people watching. But I am trying to keep this at an hour, so I will try to wrap it up. G.I. Joe Resolute, yes, I saw that, and I thought it was really cool. Thanks everyone for stopping by. Thanks everyone for watching the videos. Thanks everyone for enjoying G.I. Joe. Thanks for everyone for your thoughts about the movie and the news that we've gotten about it. I'm going to let you go, and let's do it next week, right? Same time, same station, and thank you all for your support, and I will see you soon.